Chico, date rema elections ratauro. Wednesday 23 August.
Right. Yo, chorafanya yangu manye pa Twitter unopost out 23 August. Celebration day. God is in it. John 14 verse 1. Moye ngere kumani kids kwa tenda kuna baba mutenda nekwandiri. Mutenda zvese. Right, yo mskana nditsvagire stalos izvo so manya. Kuti ngawe panapa. Change is near. We need a press conference. Izvo please. Time. Thanks. Manyai.
My people, comrades and friends, welcome to another episode of The Week with me, Comrade Fatso. And today we've got a very exclusive interview about the 2023 elections with the election guru, Solomon Bobosibunu. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Comrade Fatso. Thank you for having me. I'm not a guru, comrade.
Okay, election binga. You are an election binga. We'll put it into...
I'm being yeah.
Boss, we're going to get
straight. Thank you.
Into it. Recently, ZEC held a voters' roll inspection exercise, and lots of young and mainly urban voters couldn't find their names on the voters' roll. So, what happened? Did ZEC ship all their votes to Zumba Maramba Pungwe? I mean, what happened, comrade? Where did the youths disappear to?
Thank you, Comrade Fatso. I think we have one thing for sure. The voters and the ZEC, there is a pregnancy there. Whether there was an abortion, whether there was a miscarriage, whatever happened there, that's a problem. We have a problem with the preparation for the pregnancy that we actually have. So the election is the pregnancy, and then the preparations that we are seeing doesn't seem like we have a responsible, either the responsible father or a responsible mother, or either the two are not responsible. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough walk to the clinic. The nurses will be calling, where's the blanket? No blanket. Where's the baby towel? There is no towel. Where are the pampers? There are no. So the preparation itself is chaotic. So catch me there.
Hey, comrade, yeah. Saka pakaipa. And we know if there are no pampers, Mawan, as a parent, I know that pampers are very important. But in the elections context, like you're saying, there's a lot of controversy ahead of these 2023 elections. We still don't have an actual transparent voters' roll. The electoral amendment bill was never passed. And we even have these comrades from the ZANU-affiliated Forever Associates Zimbabwe, who are there with their red caps at every polling station, monitoring voters. So will we actually have free and fair elections? Are the conditions right?
Okay, thank you. I think this one I will say it's a cocktail, but the cocktail is not going to be nice again. It's a cocktail for disaster, I think. That's what I can say. From what I see, the election would happen as scheduled on the day. Everything will go on well, but the preparation to that election does just tell us that things are not right. Number one, the fundamentals for saying we are ready, we are good to go for an election. Number one, the processes must be known by everyone. So as we even speak, there is a calendar for different events in the election, for different processes in the elections. So this calendar is not known by anyone. It remains a secret of ZEC. Every other year, they've released a calendar at the beginning of the year to spell out what is going to come. But as we speak now, we don't know what is coming. The proclamation simply came because the legal framework dictates that proclamation must come. But ZEC, by February, March, they knew when they wanted to have the election. They knew when they were going to advise the president when the elections would be due. So why did they mix up the proclamation and the inspection of the voters' roll? Why did they mix up these things? It's just, these are simple things. Parliament, the executive must have caucus and say, okay, we are now ready to proclaim an election. Where are you with legislation? There's the youth quota. The amendments are not yet through. There's the youth quota, the 10 seats for youth. How are they going to be implemented? They are not there in the electoral framework. They are simply there in the amendment of 2020. But the operationalization of that is not there. How is they going to operationalize that? All the political parties that have done primary elections so far, they were telling their supporters, their young people, that okay, we're going to have a youth quota, so ensure that you choose a youth representative for your province. What happens to those young people? Frustrations. The women's 30% in local authorities, that was promised. That was the Gweru Indaba, I think sometime in 2019, 2020, somewhere there. The president went to Gweru, women were there, they demanded 30%. He said yes. They moved the motion, they moved with the idea. Everyone was causing up to these 30 seats. Now, everyone knows that there were supposed to be 30 seats for 30% quota for women in local authorities. And here we are. The election date is there. The Electoral Act cannot be amended, cannot be changed to then accommodate this group. So ultimately, we have this a cocktail of confusion that is reigning around the elections in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Well, Comrade, I mean, I like cocktails, but this cocktail doesn't sound like a great one. It's not really like a mojito or something. So it's interesting you bring up how this is going to affect young people and women, because there was the whole issue of nomination fees. Nomination fees for presidential candidates are 20,000 USA. Hey, I mean, that's a mere 10% of an appreciation fee, but still it's big money. And Justice Minister put down the conversation about reviewing the fees. So that effectively sidelines the poor vote, the youthies and women who want to stand in elections. So doesn't this just leave elections as a playground for the elite?
Okay, so if you have no money, I think they are simply saying no part in elections. If you have no money, you can only be a voter. If you have no money, you can't represent anyone. That's what it says. Because if you are looking at the incomes, if you are looking at people struggling, I was reading an article, is it yesterday or a day before yesterday, where World Food Program is supposed to support about 65,000 people in Rushinga, Shavane, some of these districts. Where does those young people in those districts get money to then stand for office if they are going to be supported with food by an international organization? Where do they get money to go and stand for office? It becomes just an elite game. It's for them to play, those with money, those with access to the percentages that they get after playing the deals. So in literal sense, this is the problem that we have in the Zimbabwean election, that there are no extensive and sincere consultations when it comes to coming up with legislation, coming up with policies. So when this idea was being mooted, who was consulted? Who sat in that meeting to say, okay, for young people, stand for council, we're going to stand for as members of parliament, we qualify for these positions. This is the amount that we can afford. The range of amounts. You cannot specifically give an exact amount, but you can give a range to say, even if I'm a young person, I'm in Mrewa, and I'm a young person, I'm in Matoko and Cholocho, I'm in Sisa. We can all afford within this range. But now it's because it's an elite decision. It comes from the executive. It comes from whoever is responsible for making decisions on behalf of everyone else, which is not a democracy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess with the issue you bring up around legislation, I mean, there was also this whole furore over delimitation, and if we would vote under the new boundaries drawn up by ZEC or the old ones. So now that we've got the election dates and we've got the election proclamation, which is which? How are we voting?
Okay, so we're gonna stick with what the boss has said at ZEC. There's the boss there at ZEC, so we have to stick with what they've proclaimed, what has been signed into law. We're gonna use the new boundaries as of 20 February 2023, the ones that have been signed. However, the challenge lies with people finding where their names are and ensuring that on election day, they go where their names are. So the cost is on us, the citizens. So the bosses wants us to foot the cost as citizens all the time. We have to foot the higher bill on nomination. we have to also foot the bill to go and vote wherever they decided to splash us. So this merely splashing people around. You know that this person has been voting at Mazoro, the primary, in Mondoro Mbaera, Chegutu Road District Council, and then you splash them to Makonde High School in Chinoi. How do they even move? So these are some of the challenges that we have. We have to stay put up, or we have to act within the confines of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Demand, go to courts. When we go to courts again, it's not guaranteed that we have what we want. We don't know what comes from the courts. Obviously, it's just for record purposes, for the records, to say so and so came here, they had this issue, they had a plea, they had a prayer, but that prayer was not given. But obviously, some other people gonna sit some other day and then reflect and say, okay, seriously, this was not the democracy that people wished for when they probably went to war, when they made the 2013, 22 May 2013 Constitution. This was not the inspiration, this was not the aspirations, this was not the expectation. They had a better expectation of things. They had a better expectation of how elections must be organized legally, how elections must be organized administratively, and how technical components of the elections were supposed to be handled by the Electoral Commission and the administrators of the country.
So I've also been thinking, in the event of no one candidate getting a majority during the first round of elections, do you think ZEC has the capacity to do a rerun in the stipulated time frame? Because currently it seems ZEC couldn't even organize a cake sale at a creche.
Okay, so I think the good thing about a runoff, which is not good for me in the context of our motherland. We know what happens with runoffs and whatever in the past, but where the runoff is proclaimed, it means they are only concentrating in electing one office. So the logistics, the administration, and the operations are primarily focused just on one main office. So it means that could be pretty much easier. And they are looking at if all goes well, they would need about just 30 days because the candidates are known. There's no need for another sitting of nomination. They all have their information. The polling station lists are already there. The voters roll has already been certified already because there's no one who's going to be registered. So in that way, it's going to be easy, but it's not going to be easy to the voter who traveled to Makonde from Mazoro in Mondoro to go to Chinoi to vote. It means they have to also foot another bill to go and vote for their candidate again because their name will still not be found where they are supposed to be in the event that their name initially was misplaced or was displaced by the commission. So those are some of the challenges. But in general, organizing a runoff is pretty much easier in that everything that we needed, we have already assembled it in the main election. What you simply need is a quick budget, and then you flip over into the next phase of the election.
Yeah, Comrade, based on what you're saying, I think as Comrade Fatso, I might organize a shuttle bus to Uzumba Maramba Pfungwe during elections because I think a lot of youth their names may have been misplaced.
Why don't you also organize for some sugar canes? Why don't you also organize for some sugar canes in Chirenzi to come and make sugar in Harare? Sugar is expensive these days. Yeah. With Arachich, yes, you're supposed to focus something like 30,000-40,000. I don't know.
Yo. Yeah, Mawan. Also talking about Mawan, our parliament has just passed the repressive Patriot Bill, which criminalizes criticism of our wonderful government. So coming just before elections, what does this new alleged Patriot Bill, what does this mean for freedom of expression?
I think what I should have done first is to ask you if you are a nationality. Because if you are a Zimbabwean in the first place, because I'm not supposed to speak to any other nationality on some of these matters. But okay, I would say I've done it. It's in the public domain now. I've spoken, so whatever comes, I would just have to take the blows. But anyway, I think it's election is an expression. Election is an expression. Is a way of expressing our satisfaction with what we have, or our dissatisfaction with what we have, and our desire of the things that we wish to see. So number one, it says my satisfaction with the current, or my dissatisfaction with the current, and my expectation from either someone else from another institution. So by merely making sure that people are able to freely express themselves with whoever they want to interact with, that becomes problematic as well. So I think coming just on the eve of an election, it becomes a tool for making it more difficult, more harder, especially even for journalists, for people that work in election, for citizens themselves, to simply express themselves with whoever they want to interact with. Because when you look at the Constitution itself, it covers that particular right expressly, so that you can express yourself. You can send out your opinions. So if you are sending those opinions and you know that there is a chop that is closer to your neck, you definitely know that what I'm doing, I'm not supposed to do it. Not because I'm not supposed to do it, but because someone is saying I'm not supposed to do it.
So, Comrade Solomon, we're now going to get into a multiple choice section, and I'm sure you remember multiple choice from school, you know, from ZJC, from O levels. Very straightforward, Comrade. Yeah, very straightforward. So I'm going to give you two choices, and you go for one, and you just say the one. You just say the name that you prefer. Very simple, Comrade. You don't need to overthink this. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, I was a black sheep in school, so I'm gonna try it now so that I can reclaim that space.
It's very easy, either or. So we're starting off. First question: voters roll or sausage roll? Which do you want?
Sausage roll. Sausage roll.
Next, I know it's nearly lunchtime, so you're hungry. Next, Winky D or Ja Praiser?
Winky D.
Ahoy. Final
Big
question.
Man. Yeah.
Final question. Ballot box or Christmas box?
Oh, ballot box.
Tapinda. So, boss, we've come to the end of the interview now, and I just want to, want to know, because we've got a lot of youthies who watch our show. You know, the youthies are out there, the millennials, the Gen Z, they tune into our show. So I'm wanting to know, do you have a message for the youthies about why they need to get out there, and despite all the difficulties and the struggle, why they need to get out there and vote?
Oh, yeah. That one, I like it. So for me, number one, I have a few points for the youths. I have just left that bracket a few years ago. Number one, this election is about your jobs. This election is about your future. This election is about education. This election is about health. This election is about development. So for those things that matter to us as young people, I'm also young anyway, young at heart. So those are the things you need to go and secure those things. I know I have mentioned 5. We have so many of them, marriage included, Mjolo included, Mafaro included. But those 5 key that I have mentioned, I think they are at the bottom of my heart. And I think that when I see young people in the streets, walking, hopeless, with nothing, no money for airtime, no money for Mjolo, I think, just go out and vote for that. That gives you the certainty to enjoy those things after 23 August. I'm out.
Ahoy. Hansi Solomon, vote for Mafaro. Make sure you vote for your own happiness and for your future. Solomon, thanks so much for joining us here on The Week.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Magamba Network. Oh, keep it up. Keep the good work up as we go to election, 23 August. We are in.
Ahoy, comrade. True pusher, my way. True pusher.
Ayo mtambo yawasika kwa mvura yacheka makumbo. Nguwa yatanga takamirira 23 August. Kuchange kune mankange hapo mkono ichange ichidatsurana. Rega titaure zvemkono tisiyane nema underdogs. Uto tu team twechidiki tikunongonyuka kwanika mota. kuchange kune mangange, vakomana vechidiki, vakomana vanofarira zvemakala, vakomana vanozikanwa nezvekudzidza, vakomana vane mukurumbira wekunamata, vachange vachidatsura nevakomana vahombe. Regai tione kuti vakomana ava vachange vakamira sei, vakomana vane maplans. Vakati maplans avo ndekusatizivisa maplans avo. Vakomana vachange vane mamwe matactics zvakare kunamata. Hatiziviwo pamwe Moses achangoya kuzokandawo rake ballot paper ballot box. Vakomana vechidiki vachange vachikwikwidzana nevakomana vahombe, vatana, vakweguru, vakomana vanozikanwa nekurwa hodo, vakomana vanozikanwa nemukurumbira yeruoko, vakomana vanotora kunyangwe bhebhi rako chairo kana ndove, vakomana vanozikanwa nemukurumbira wekurakasha, aiwa pakurakasha madusura chaiwo. Regai tione kuti vakomana ava vachange vachimira sei. Tamirira kuti vapinde munhandare 23 August, hakudani anozwa. Regai timirire vapinde munhandare. Tinotenda.